live.
Canadian wine lovers, happy Wine Wednesday. Today, we're going to recap the news, the wine news across the country, and talk about Blasted Church. See you shortly.
And some more of our latest discoveries. There's a lot of wine open right now, so stay tuned. Yeah.
Cheers. Happy Wine Wednesday, Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, everyone across the country. Welcome, welcome. It's Wine Wednesday. There's so much going on in our glasses, in the world of wine, everywhere in Ontario, Nova Scotia, BC, everywhere. There's so much going on. Good evening, Mira Boucher. How's it going?
Carl Boucher. It's going really well. Yeah, I am so excited to just relax on a Wednesday. And you know what else? The weather out here in the Okanagan is spectacular. I know there's been some snowstorms in other places, but wow, the Okanagan is just, it tastes like summer.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's sunny, it's beautiful, but it's pretty chilly, though. I went outside a couple times today, and it's a minus. We're in the minus, but yes, it's sunny, it's gorgeous. It smells like soon enough there's going to be some green popping up, and the real Okanagan life is going to start all over again. So yeah, but in the meantime, we had a real Okanagan day inside the office. Because I think since 5:45 this morning, when I was tasting the Blasted Church 2019 Merlot, there's at least 15 bottles of wine who got opened today. I mean, there's wines everywhere. There's absolutely killer wines, like world-class wines, open all over the place. We were in touch from world-class wineries. We planned a world-class tasting. I mean, we finalized a world-class courses for winery. I mean, with so much we've done today. I mean, cheers to you, Mira. It was pretty freaking epic day.
Cheers to you, Carl. Cheers to
you. So yeah, how about we start? Because I don't know, is there anywhere do you want to start with the news of the day? Do you want me to start with a little bit of wine? How many glasses do you have open in front of you? How many glasses do you have? How many glasses you have poured in front of you?
There's 5. There's 1 white and 4 reds, and they're all like labeled. So that's exciting.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't help if you just tell me like what's my second glass, or so I need.
So yours are not labeled and mine are.
Oh no, both are labels.
Oh, okay.
Both are labels. Yeah. It might be in the different orders, but we all have the same.
So yeah, I've got. Oh, I'm excited about one of these Bachelor Pinot Noir open.
Well, I mean, Daryl Hickey asked me last week, like point blank live, is any Bachelor offer coming soon? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Until I look at the calendar, and I'm like, holy crap! Bachelor's coming in less than a month. Holy schmoot! So better start to taste.
We're cracking them all open. We're cracking them all open. The first one, wow.
Yeah. So there's just only, but we already have 2 Chardonnays who's going to be part of the feature that we've tasted last year. But yeah, now we're starting the Pinot. So I have the Wismer Park Wild West End open 2021 vintage. So I knew that I had a quick sip early this morning, and we'll follow up with that a little later. I haven't touched it since. So yeah, I can see here all of your great pictures that we have from Blasted Church on the Skaha Bench here near Okanagan Falls in BC. I mean, so many. Okay, I need to tell a little bit about my story with Blasted Church because, to me, Blasted Church was a good winery who produced some great value wines. And I never dig deep into their portfolio. I watched them from afar. I've never really had an opinion on them. And just knowing that I knew that, how's that called? What's that one? That good value, the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory was a great value wine, always well rated. But, I'm like, I've never dig into their portfolio until 3 months ago when Luke Withall, who is the DTC manager there, was starting to talk about the portfolio and seeing that they have a Grenache Syrah Mourvèdre, the GSM, they have Nebbiolo, and they have all of these cool grape varietals and all of these absolutely, I didn't know how good they were, but these intriguing wines. And to me, they were a bigger producer, right? No, some of these wines are 150 cases made. So finally, we came to an agreement with Blasted Church to feature their wines, and it's coming next week. We are right there next week. And since in the last couple of days, I've been tasting, well, we have been tasting lots of their wines. And holy shit, I didn't expect the portfolio to be that good. So now I am so thrilled, not only to feature a couple of great value wines, but also some world-class, big score wine that I can't wait to share with all of the membership next week. So yeah,
absolutely.
So pretty
Vicky
cool
says
pictures
there's
too.
another hat. She says there's another hat. Oh no, I know.
I know.
Some of you guys didn't get your Rust hats. I know that hat. I think we need a club hat like that, like
club hat.
Why not? Or
No.
rosé all day, or some Canadian wine, something on there. I don't know. If you guys have ideas, I think we should have a club hat for the next time we all meet up. That'd be kind of fun. So anyway,
we need the, not the emoji, but the two Canadian flags and the two glasses, right? The one we use on social media. That can be a fun one.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. Anyway, hats joke aside, I mean, I have a great Viognier in my glass right now, and it's pretty darn freaking good.
We've been pleasantly surprised. We had a schwack of their wines here, and I think we're gonna include almost all of them. Like, there's a lot of really great ones. So
there's 9 wines included in that feature next week. 9, and that Viognier at $24 is include. I mean, super expressive on the nose. It was really, really cool to to crack that open. Not waxy, not too big, not too heavy. Surprisingly, beautiful acid in that Viognier, but lots of orchard fruit. I mean, apricot, peach, pear, really, really, really good. I like that. I like how fresh it is, and it's a 2022 vintage, so just released.
Very exciting.
Awesome mouthfeel. What a great mouthfeel. Yeah, great. Hey, how about, do we want to start with our stop in the Similkameen before we start talking about everything? Do we want to do that, or do you want to talk about something else?
Yes,
because let's show everyone who listen to us every week and think that we prepare for hours before we go live, and we are so prepared, and all of our material is all lined up, and we script the whole show, and I don't have a fucking clue what I was talking about tonight. We just go live and say, hey, let's talk about wine, right? That's how we do thing here.
Well, I gotta give you a little warning. At some point, we got to talk about marijuana, because there's a new law that was passed around here, and I wanna have my say on that and see what you guys think. But
you're not turning into a pothead, right?
No.
Okay.
Spiel on pot, okay, and what happened here I think yesterday with the laws. But anyways, yeah, no, it's not possible, Daryl, to be scripted with Carl. I tried earlier. We tried to record a video clip, and I was like, Carl, just say, oh, sorry, cannabis, not pot. Yeah, it's a little more dignified, I guess, or something. I was like, Carl, just say these 4 words. He could not do it. What? How many takes? 5. It can't be scripted. It's like an allergy.
I can't do that. Can you imagine being my elementary school teacher?
Yeah.
No, it was a very hard thing to be my elementary school. I can't do anything scripted. Okay, I go off script, and that's how I got here.
That's right. So,
okay. What do we want to talk about? Do we want to start about news? Do you want to start about tasting and what we've done last week? You're in charge.
I can't just tease people about this. Okay, so here is Mira's take on, as Mike says, the cannabis. Okay, so nothing against people that use marijuana or CBD oil or whatever for whatever purposes. I grew up since I was 9 in Victoria. Okay, pretty much everyone that I went to school with as a teenager was smoking pot. I never once tried it because it grosses me out. And that's for 2 reasons. One is the smell. The smell just reminds me of like farts or something. So I just can't. But the other is because when I was 5, I accidentally ate a cigarette. Okay. I thought it was candy. I stuffed that thing in my mouth. I was so excited. I thought it was candy, and it was not. And I still remember that. So I have never been tempted in any which shape or way to try anything that involves smoking, and that includes marijuana. So that's my take on that. So no judgment, right? Whatever. They've changed the laws. People are smoking pot everywhere. Sometimes, like I was running a marathon in Victoria, a half marathon, I don't know when it was. When was that? Last spring? Yeah. There were so many people smoking pot on the beach where the marathon was that I thought, this is not healthy. And I had to take like an alternate route because you're trying to run, and for like 10 minutes, all you can smell is the marijuana smoke. And I'm thinking like,
and on the alternate route, they were selling marijuana. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. Anyway, the point is, this week they changed the laws so that in the Okanagan here, people who have like cannabis growing sites, and they have tasting rooms on site. They have tasting rooms. So on the way up to Apex from Penticton here, there is a whole schwack of marijuana tasting rooms now. And the point is that, well, I mean, I drove by there. I thought there were candy shops. So at one point I pulled over and I was like, this is not a candy shop. And I kept going because they're all decorated. Anyway, the point is they are now allowed to allow like their guests to consume the marijuana, the cannabis, anywhere on their property. So they can go for a walk outside. They can have events in the parking lot and people can be smoking there. And my point is, I don't understand how that is allowed. And wineries are not allowed to serve alcohol anywhere on their property. It's actually very, very strict for wineries. So many, many wineries, we want to go for a walk in the vineyard with a glass of wine. It's legally not allowed. You have to have an endorsement on where on the property, like very specifically, the wine is going to be consumed. It has to be barricaded off from the rest of the property. If an inspector comes by and they find you with a glass of wine 10 feet away from the patio, they can get a big fine. So, yeah, Vicky, I said double standard because I mean, like, what's the deal here? Why is the cannabis getting all this like upgraded rules, and yet we're still in prohibition era for the wine? I don't know. So I think like we need to, at some point, get these lawmakers to switch their attention and make it a little more fair for the wineries too.
No, I totally agree, and that's where we're at right now with everything's happening with the provincial restrictions, and like there's so many things happening right now in our whole world of wine. And that leads me to Nova Scotia, because that's a great point, Mira. That's frustrating because we've been talking with so many producers who are fighting for their picnic area license versus their patio license, and versus their like there's so many little different
as an
caveat into their license that you're allowed but not allowed, but you can go there but not there, and this is not allowed because it was just COVID restrict. Like there's so many little asterisk here and there that not only it's confusing, but it's also really pissing people off, because at the end of the day, people go to a vineyard to enjoy and listening to the story of the winemaker and the family who owns the property, and you're stuck in all of these in these boxes, and they keep asking the producer to like another $250 for one license, and you need to apply and this and that.
So if you have a winery, right, with a certain kind of license, you weren't allowed to serve wine on the patio, only indoors. People could buy a bottle of wine and consume it on the patio, but they would not be allowed to have like a table service with a tasting on the patio. So I don't know what that's about. But then let's say you have your patio. Next to the patio, there's picnic tables. Well, same thing. You can't have your tasting at the picnic tables. You need to.
But you have to go in the tasting room to purchase a bottle and bring the bottle at the picnic table. But you need to have a sandwich. If you don't have a sandwich, I know.
Well, I don't know all the details, but it is.
Yeah, I know. I'm just extrapolating, but yeah, I know. I understand where you're going with all of these layers, and why the marijuana business now are getting all of these things going up. But yeah, frustrating, discombobulating, and pisses me off. I'm totally with you, Mira. Let's go to Nova Scotia, because another nonsense.
Yeah, and then we'll get into the wine, because I mean, if we try to start ranting after we get into the wine, we could be here all night. So I'll just very briefly brief you on what happened in Nova Scotia. Last Friday, they had a meeting with the 28 wineries, independent wineries that are out there. And the government basically said, oh, you know that rebate that you guys get because you make wine with Nova Scotia grapes. They get kind of special treatment with the taxation there. So they don't get taxed a big markup at the liquor stores the same way that import wines do, right? It's the same thing in BC. Kind of controversial, but it really supports these smaller growers. And they told them just starting Monday, this was Friday, starting Monday, we're going to allow the commercial wineries who bring in juice from Chile and the United States and who knows where else, they will also get the same break on the markups. And so a lot of wineries in Nova Scotia are quite upset about this, namely because there's only one big commercial winery that operates there. So it's a change in laws to benefit this one big winery that operates across Canada and does a lot of bottling under the Made in Canada label, but the juice is from...
You didn't want to mention Peller Estate? Sorry. Oh, did I? Oh, okay. Sorry.
We do love a lot of things that they do, but this one, and it's not even them. I mean, it's just the government is doing that to kind of...
Yeah, another nonsense. We'll have to dig a little deeper into the why, but because the why doesn't make any sense to me, especially at this conjuncture, of the where we're at with every single trouble that we have here in BC, and we're lobbying to open the Canadian grapes and all of that. I know there's that, and the why. Mike just had a great Mike, the average wine enthusiast. I mean, has one of the answer why. It's because of the lobbying money. So
the reality is, I mean, if you study international trade, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to favor and subsidize and give special benefits to the local people compared to the international people. That's like international trade laws, right? But yet we do in Canada. We do it with quite a few things. The United States does it with their dairy industry. Like there's a lot of that kind of thing happening. So for whatever reason, they decided to become very, very transparent when it comes to the international trade rules all of a sudden. So good on them for that. But at the same time, it kind of screws over the small producers who now compete with people who can make wine at $6 a bottle.
Yeah, another nonsense of this week. And if you have missed Ilya Senchuk, owner and winemaker at Leaning Post in the Lincoln Lakeshore Appellation, beautiful interview that he had on CHCH TV last Friday. I don't know, Mira, do you have the link close by? Maybe not.
I can try and find it. Yeah, I can put it in the chat.
I have.
So CH interviewed them, and
last Friday, and it's a beautiful interview talking about unity, talking about Canadian potential of Canadian grapes going across the country. So it's a beautiful interview. If you have the chance, Miro might find the link at some point, and I should have thought of that. I have it here on my phone. Do you want me to send it to you?
Here, Leaning Post. I have it right here.
You have it perfect. So listen to Ilya. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, great interview with Ilya Senchuk, and that's pretty much our vision here at Carl's Wine Club, where we're sharing. It's about opening Canada's border inside of our country, like the free grapes, like making sure that if certain vintage, we need to use some Ontario grape in our BC blend for certain SKUs, but we won't get thrown out in jail, because these kind of things should be allowed under any license of our producer, but also having the truth in labeling and all of that. So anyway, lots going on that side here across the country. So that was enough of news. And let's get to the wine and what we've done last week. Last week and this week started with last Thursday, where we went to the Similkameen Valley and went to see our friend Daniel Bonterin, the rosé master, the genius behind Seven Direction, Tractor and Vines, Pinot Noir Rosé, Fritville Ridge, Cabernet Franc Rosé. Every year we see these two outstanding rosés, some of the best in the country, if not the best in the country, year in and year out. And I had the privilege, Mira and I, I had the privilege a couple months ago to pre-taste that thing just out of the tank. And I knew we're going to have another great expression of Tractor and Vines. And this week, late last week, the product was finally bottled, and we ended up at this new winery in Curamios, and we had a blast. Hey, Mira?
Yes, we did. And look, it's empty, unfortunately, because it was really good. But I have something to show you guys. Something wild always happens.
That's the new vintage, everyone. Just so everyone knows, now we're getting in the season. We're getting in the season where the new rosés are going to get released slowly. And Daniel is one of the first. He has his Tractor and Vines ready to go next week. I think it's next week. They're going to start their pre-release for their wine club, or
starting Monday. I think they're going to send a pre-release link to their newsletter, because they don't have a wine club yet. So you can just join their email list and get all the pre-releases and things like that. But okay, so this is what I want to show you. So every time we go and hang out with Daniel Bonterin, something kind of fun happens when we get chatting, and he talks about his back vintage collection of the rosés. You recall
don't spill the beans. I wanted to talk about it later, but let's go. Let's do it. Absolutely. Okay. There's no script here. Come on. Let's do it.
I can't remember. Maybe he said don't say anything about
this. No. It's just because after talking of the Tractor and Vines, I wanted to go with the other one, and possibly what we're going to do with the Pan Canadian, but you go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We can chat about that too. So last summer, we tasted Daniel Bonterin's rosés, our top rosé in Canada for the last 3 years?
Yeah, 3 years running.
We tasted his rosé going back to 2012, the Tractor and Vines, like vertical, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, all the way till the 2022.
There's even a vintage where there was two.
Yeah, there was one year where there were two because they switched vineyards and we had both vineyards. It was really cool. So fascinating, because you don't think that rosé can age usually, but this one is so purpose-built that it aged amazingly. And I mean, look at this. Can you see this here? Oh, no, it's not showing.
There you go.
The color changes, obviously, right? Like on the right, on the one side there, you see the brand new one. And then you see, as it ages, Daniel likes to say it gets closer to the original grape. But okay, so this is what happened. This is what happened. Daniel goes up to like the back of his storage there.
The pile of boxes. He is the, and I'm behind it. I'm making fun of him right now.
And he literally found a bottle of 2015 Fruitvale Ridge.
Yeah, so
that is like the brother of this one. It's the two rosés he makes, right? The two vineyards.
Yeah, so one is the Pinot Noir and the other one is the Cabernet Franc, right? So anyway, couple weeks back when we finalized the detail for him to be part of the Pan-Canadian masterclass that was going to be held on June 15 at Esther Creek, I wanted Daniel to be part of it because we rarely talk about rosé, and we wanted to feature his rosé at the Pan-Canadian. So Daniel said, hey, maybe on a side tasting on a different day during that crazy weekend where the country is going to gather in Oliver, and like we can maybe organize a vertical tasting of the Fruitvale Ridge Cab Franc Rosé. I have all the way back to 2015. I have 8 vintages of Fruitvale Ridge, and unfortunately, this is the end. Last year was the last Fruitvale Ridge single vineyard. So he said we could do a vertical tasting with some of our guests in town. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, what a great idea. But whoa, hold on. We're not sure if the wine is still good. He said, I haven't tasted this wine in years. So it happened that while we were there, he's like, you know what? We're going to know today if the wine is good. So there you go. He went up to the pot and to the top of the boxes, and he dig down, and he finally got a bottle of the 2015. You wonder if this wine is good? Maybe Mira has a clip. Do you have a clip of?
No, I don't have a clip of when we were tasting it, but I can confirm it was good.
It was not good. It was really fucking good. It was really fucking good. I tell you, there's that savoriness, that caramel on the finish, but also that beautiful orange marmalade and the freshness. This wine still has 2 to 3 years to go. Easy. There's a bright acid in this 2015 Cab Franc Rosé. So if you ever wonder how well Seven Direction, Daniel Bonterman's rosé age, like either on the Pinot Noir side or on the Cab Franc, both are aging beautifully. So now we're already planning that vertical tasting in the weekend of the masterclass. So for the people who already have their ticket for the masterclass, we're going to be in town. Buckle your seatbelt, you guys, because the weekend is going to be epic. There's going to be some things that you guys have ever thought of might happen here in the Okanagan, and we're going to put it together. So it's really freaking exciting.
Really amazing. And don't worry, we're coming to Ontario at least once this spring in April, and hopefully again in the fall. So
let's backtrack, okay? Because now I want to talk a little bit about the 2023, the pre-release of the Tractor and Vines. Tractor and Vines is the vineyard. Pinot Noir, single varietal Pinot Noir made by Seven Direction. Seven Direction, it's Daniel Bonterman under the umbrella of Bottega Wine Studio. So now he just opened his new wineries in the Similkameen, his new winery in the Similkameen in Coston. And here you go. Yeah. So the 2023 was a tough vintage in a sense that big frost happened at the end of 2022, where the season finished extremely late. And early, like in this late December, just around Christmas, a bad frost of 20 hours of minus 27 happened and kills a lot of vines across the Okanagan. And tractor and vines was badly affected. And on top of it, the season started very, 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 very slow. And after that, it was really hot. Very, very, very hot. A very hot season. So the crop and the yield of 2023 vintage, very tiny, tiny, tiny. Instead of making 250 cases, there's just around 100 cases of tractor and vines available. And because the season was so hot, it's not ideal for rosé. Let's be honest here. If you want to make a really, really good rosé, and especially in the style that Daniel consistently make, a super hot vintage, it's not exactly what he's looking for. But again, the rosé master did it again. He left the canopy, so the leaves on the vines, until late in the summer, so to protect the bunches against the sun. And this absolutely preserved the acidity of the wine and the uniqueness of this terroir, that small plot, 1.25 acres. Yes, 1.25 acres. Tiny, 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 tiny vineyard. He managed to put out enough grape to make just around 100 cases of that absolute beauty. And if do you want a hint? What's the score? Should we say the score, or should we wait later?
I think so, because we just sent them our tasting notes, and I think they're gonna put them out to their email list.
Yeah, 93 points, Carl's Wine Club. He freaking crushed it again. Despite all of the odds against the vintage, he crushed it. Beautiful tractor and vines, and unfortunately, it's going to be the last one. So no more tractor and vines, because 2024 frost earlier this year absolutely dismantled the whole thing, and we won't see tractor and vines as we know it. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if those vines will be alive. They'll have to see. So potentially we might see tractor and vines in a few years, maybe. But
yeah. No, so that's not true. I have to correct that, what I just said. There is not going to be any tractor and vines until the 2026 vintage. That's the truth.
Okay.
Wow, that's the truth. Sorry, I just recalled the conversation that I had with that. There's not going to be any tractor, and it's on his video as well. Remember, we recorded the video with him. So it's
I don't know what's the link you put, Daryl. It's YouTube. Is that the video with? I guess I'll have to see. He says, "Just ship me 6." Definitely, right? It's so good. You're
definitely so we're gonna have some for our members like every year, because keep in mind, guys, 7 Direction Bottega Wine was the first feature ever. The first feature ever we had at Carl's Wine Club was with Daniel and 7 Direction and Bottega Wine Studio. So yes, our wine club members are going to have access to 7 Direction in maybe in a month's time. Probably the Cap Franc is a good chance that we're going to have a pre-release before everybody for the Cap Franc, and Daniel's going to save some of his tractor and vines for all of us. So that's the good news. So 93 points, 2023 tractor and vines. Way to go, Daniel Bontherin. Another great, especially this one, we can see a great effort, because it wasn't easy. Yeah. And he's freaking put it off. And one thing that I've rarely ever tasted and smell in a wine, in a rosé, it's pencil lead. An aroma that I get a lot in Cabernet Sauvignon, that I get a lot in these big, like big reds, also that sign of minerality in that rosé. We're just tasting, Daniel and I, at the winery, and like, do you get that? And yeah, we got some pencil lead, that graphite aromas in the wine, really unique for a rosé of Pinot Noir. So yeah, really cool. So that was Thursday, right? The day after our last show. So Thursday morning we went to the Similkameen, and that was it. After that, we went to the BC Tech studio. We went to taste with the guy that some of the lab tech at the Okanagan College, some of the 2015 rosé that Daniel gave us, and everyone at the lab at the Okanagan College were like, "Holy shit!" So
the lab, it's pretty cool. We discovered this recently when we did that crazy tasting with 48 bulk wines from Ontario. We brought together 80 winemakers. I think it was about a week ago. It's all a blur.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, 80 winemakers and
2 weeks ago tomorrow.
Yeah, and we tasted 48 Ontario bulk wines just to open their mind. Like if they're not going to have any grapes across BC this year, opening their mind to the possibility of working with Ontario. So, so we found this lab, and at this lab, they have an extensive library of Okanagan wines, BC wines that they are testing over time to how they're developing. And they got stuff there going back to 2000, maybe
2003, 2004, and lots of ice wines all the way back to 1991, and some cool stuff. A couple of weeks ago, we had a 2006 Mission Hill Pinot Noir entry level that everyone thought that was absolutely dead and cooked. And no, this wine was slightly corked. But when you taste some of older wine like that, it proved that the Canadian wine producer can produce wine with aging potential. And that's going to lead me to our next conversation. What a great segue. Feels like if we're doing that all the time.
If we're talking aging potential, I think I know where you're going with that.
I'm going to Ontario. I'm going to Niagara. I'm going to a conversation where in April, so a month and a couple weeks from now, we're going to be hopping on the plane. We're going to travel to Ontario, to Niagara. We're going to be there for a week. And while we're going to be earlier in that week, guest speaker at the Ontario Craft Winery Conference, on the Thursday at the end of that week, we're putting a tasting together with Mark Nadeau, founder and business partner of late Steven Spurrier in Toronto, l'Académie du Vin. So l'Académie du Vin and Mark have a absolutely incredible cellar of international wines dating back to, I don't know, to the 90s, like all of the trophy wine that you can never imagine. They have them all. So anyway, Mark, Mira, and I are partnering up with the Vintage Conservatory in Toronto, which is a private club where people have their own wine cellar there. And we're going to do a very unique tasting with 10 flights of wine, one Canadian wine side by side with an international icon, showing Canadian wines from 10 years or older. So the purpose of that is to show how beautifully our Canadian wines can age, and how they can compare to an international icon that we all know how beautifully some Bordeaux Grand Cru can age 10, 15, 20 years. We all know how Burgundy from Montrachet can age wonderfully for 25, 30 years. We all know.
And here's where I have to say we don't all know, because we've heard, but I haven't tasted some of these kinds of well-aged wines yet. So that's why I'm excited for this tasting.
So should I mention the wine that we have confirmed?
Yes, you should.
Yeah?
Because
okay.
Doesn't mean a ton to me. I've not traveled to those regions, but I think for some of the people on right now might ring some bells.
So we don't have the international comp selected exactly yet, but you can imagine If we have a Chardonnay from Niagara Escarpment, that's going to be side by side with the with the Burgundy Chard, okay? So, and some from top-notch Grand Cru appellation and from top-notch producers. So, okay, let's start with the bubbly. With the bubbly, we're starting with Nova Scotia. I'm so excited. I have goosebumps right now just to talk about that. Okay, and the bubbly will be the youngest of all of our wine that day for a very specific reason. We're going to feature a Benjamin Bridge 2017 découpement parcellaire blanc de blanc. So it's 100% Chardonnay, champagne method. Why it's only the 2017? It's because after talking personally with Jean-Benoit Deslauriers, the winemaker at a Benjamin Bridge, we were planning a 2011 of the Underwater Quest wine, and he said, Cal, if you want to do something unique and top world class, you need to use my découpement parcellaire. It's the best wine that I have ever made. It's the best wine that Benjamin Bridge ever put together. It's such a small production. I would love for you to present that. So we're going with the découpement parcellaire 2017 Blanc de Blanc. By the way, each of these wines, there's one bottle on their way to Summerland as we speak. So we can do a live tasting them all before we go to Toronto, because I need to get ready for that presentation, because I'm going to do the presentation on the Canadian side of the 10th flight. So would it be a good idea? It just popped up to my head.
To go live?
But yeah, when I taste them for the sake to get ready.
Of course.
Okay, let's move on. So that's the bubbly. We're going to do 2006 Stratus White. So Stratus White is one of the Canadian icons. Stratus aged their wine a lot. They have a beautiful library. So we're going with Stratus White blend as one of the Niagara representation. Also, we're going to have Cape Spring, the CSV Riesling 2014 vintage. Also, just confirmed this morning, talking with Matt at Hidden Bench, we're going to have Hidden Bench 2013 Chardonnay, either the Tête de Cuvée 2013 or the Felski Vineyard, the single vineyard who won Chardonnay du Monde last year, but the 2013 vintage. So this is very freaking iconic. So this is for the Chardonnay. Pinot Noir, we're going to have Leaning Post, Laurie Vineyard 2012. Daryl, I want to hear you. 2012, Laurie from Leaning Post. And Elia is pretty darn excited. Is going to be present at the Vintage Conservatory that night to present the wine with us. So that. Now moving to the big reds and to the BC representation, we're going to have the Carl's Wine Club Wine of the Year this year. The 96, 95, 96. Anyway, Riverstone Milestone Cabernet Franc Merlot, homage at Cheval Blanc. Oh. So we're going to have that. We're going to have the 2012 Da Silva Legado Merlot. That I would love to announce that Richard Da Silva is coming to Toronto to present the wine at the Vintage Conservatory that night too. So it's going to be pretty darn epic. Also, to be determined on Friday, we're going to be at Summerhill and we're going to taste the full lineup of the Spadefoot Toad Syrahs.
I think that might warrant an impromptu live. I don't know, but I feel like it might. Or we'll just report back next Wine Wednesday, but it will be a long one.
Yeah, and we're going to decide which vintage of the Spadefoot Toad Syrah we're going to feature at the Vintage Conservatory, either the 2012, 2013, 2014. We're not sure yet, maybe 2010, but that's going to be the Syrah. Also 2014, Painted Rock Cabernet Franc. That's going to be another Canadian wine. So I think I'm at 9 now. And yeah.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
What do you
I know you're
think?
still working on finalizing one or two and a few of the international ones. So
Yeah, Mike, to ask Hermitage or Côte Rôtie, something like that. Or maybe Mark will decide to maybe go with a Barossa Valley or McLaren Vale, something like Grange or I don't know. You never know what Mark has up his sleeve. But yeah, I believe I have a good feeling that it's going to be Northern Rhone to go side by side with the Summerhill Back Vintage Spadefoot Toad. So yeah. So we've been working on that for a couple months now, and
I have to ask you something, and maybe like we need to clarify this with Mark Nadeau as well, and l'Académie du Vin. Are we doing 10 wines or 20 wines?
20 wines, but
so 20.
plus
Okay.
20 wines plus he wants to put some magnums of wine in between flights.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah. So he has. Oh, okay. So something that we're talking about, because him and Steven Spurrier were really good friends, right? So when Steven Spurrier left Paris, he purchased a farm in the British backcountry. I don't know exactly where, because his wife was from this area, and he planted some Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Meunier. And he grew, for I think, something like 25 acres of grape on him and his wife's farm. So he has a sparkling wine who's called, I forgot. I had it in my inbox here because Mark is going to London in a couple days, and he's going to bring a 6-pack of that, and we're probably going to serve one of the Steven Spurrier's property sparkling champagne method. So yeah.
Some wines with some pretty cool stories behind them, I think.
And also one of the Chateau Aubryon, the L'Enclave d'Aubryon, which is like for hundreds of years, they were producing the 1.5 acre inside of Chateau Aubryon acreage. There was one family who owned 1.5 acres in the middle of Chateau Aubryon's vineyard, and they were producing that wine exclusively on his own. And Mark has a few magnums of that.
Wow.
So yeah, some cool, crazy stories. And these guys are hand in hand with the Vintage Conservatory. It's one of their biggest clients. So the Vintage Conservatory's team is so excited for that tasting that
these people, okay, and many of the people that are at the Vintage Conservatories don't believe in Canadian wine yet. They either don't know yet, or they've had a few experiences and they just don't think there's anything super noteworthy there to look into. And so I think part of what we're doing here is, blowing some people's minds on what's
groundbreaking, Mira. It's groundbreaking. And Mark wants to do that, would love to do that in Vancouver and in Montreal if it goes well. So I mean, it's groundbreaking. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. And even though there's only going to be 25, 30 people in that room, max 26, I think, can taste, because there's only a few bottles of each wine. I think it can make a huge difference, because those people will tell their friends, and their friends will tell their friends. And so it's just a great way to blow some socks off people and get them really excited about Canadian wine. Daryl, no tickets yet, because we haven't confirmed the price yet. We're waiting from the Vintage Conservatory and l'Académie.
So I was on the phone with Mark Nadeau this morning. On Friday morning, we're going to reconvene with more details on the international lineup. From there, we'll be able to price the ticket. And even if the Wine Conservatory are the entity who's going to promote the event, we are for sure going to have maybe 6 to 8 tickets for our members available to be there on site at the VC on King Street downtown Toronto on Thursday, April the 25th. And Mira and I and Richard De Silva and
Ilya
Senchuk are going to be on site. And it's going to be, I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for the Pan Canadian, but I'm getting pretty darn excited about that one too. I'll tell you one thing.
I know. It's going to be some very epic tastings coming up between another rosé vertical going back to 2015, the back vintage international tasting, right, that we've been talking about, and then the Pan Canadian. Pan Canadian's June 15th in Oliver. At
Hester Creek
Estate Winery. And those tickets have been on sale. I know quite a few members got them. And at very soon, I think Hester Creek is going to release the rest of the tickets to their wine club members. And it'll probably be sold out at that point. So
exactly. And I spoke with Thomas Reed this afternoon, general manager at Stonebridge, Lely Stonebridge in Niagara-on-the-Lake. So the week that we are in Niagara, we are featuring Lely and Stonebridge. That's our weekly feature at Carl's Wine Club. And on that Wednesday, the day between the conference and our tasting at the VC in Toronto, we have our live. And because Mira never let me skip a live, she had me doing it outside at minus 15 in Victoria beside a pole. She had me she had me do it at the airport. I mean, which airport was I? I was in Vancouver one time at the airport. I think I was overseas one day as well to do. Anyway, we're going to do our live show, and we would like to do it live from Stonebridge Lady Winery on April the 25th. So, no, the April the 25th. 26th, no, 24th. The Wednesday of the week we're there. A live show at Stonebridge and a little get together with members or something like that. That would be something that we would like to do. So yeah, so that's for what's coming up. You know one thing that we haven't talked about, Mira?
What's that? The wine?
The wines that are in front of you. Okay. We only have talked about the
Viognier, which is lovely, especially at that great price point. Very lovely. But yes, what do we got going on? You've got one here that's labeled BC.
Yes, BC. Let's wait for BC. That's the Blasted Church Cab Sauv. 100% Cabernet Sauvignon, grapes from Osoyoos and Skaha Bench blended together. What I love with that, it's a $36 wine. A $36 100% Cabernet Sauvignon doesn't happen quite often. The price is bang on, and I think it was, who did give it a 93 points? I think it's BC Wine Trend. I think I get it at 92 points. This is a very impressive and juicy Cab Sauv. Lots of juicy dark fruit. Fantastic. What stands out to me, it's the how well priced this Blasted Church Cab Sauv is.
Absolutely. Yep. If we look at any Cab Sauv, 100% Cab Sauv from like Napa, I'm sure it's at least.
I mean, you don't even have to go all the way down across the border or nowhere like anywhere else. Like, I mean, like if you let's keep it around here. Now Cab Sauv are getting up there. Like they're pretty much all over $40, $45 for 100% Cab Sauv. I look at the one that I really like at Mount Boucherie, the original vines. We're talking about the $45, $48, right? So yeah, Daryl, it's in my tasting notes slightly. It's more of there's a nice charcoal minerality. Absolutely. There's nice chewy tobacco leaves. Yeah, I get that, Vicky. Like that paint. This is not at the level of Painted Rock Cab Sauv. Like, okay, let's but we're talking $15 to $20 less as well. That Capsule from the same vintage though. That tells me that the 2021 vintage was a good vintage for Cabernet Sauvignon. Another wine
from the Skaha bench. They're both from the Skaha bench, aren't they?
Absolutely, absolutely. The Blasted Church have fruit also from Osoyoos.
Oh, okay.
It's not 100% Skaha bench, but there's some from Skaha as well from their home vineyard. There's another wine with Capsule from the 2021 vintage that was part of our top 10 wine of the year.
Yeah.
There's the Painted Rock, but also the Cab Syrah from Maverick. So that tells me that 2021 as difficult it was with the heat dome and all that,
Capsule
ripened the Capsule fairly well. So this is that $34 from Blasted Church, bang on. I mean, for that price, no complaint. This is a 90 points up. I think I'm at 92 on my scale. I finished the tasting notes today. I'm not exactly sure, but we're around that. But before we jump on the big bold one we have in front of us, Mira, how about you go to the BACH wine, the one that's batch on the feet of your glass, the one who is not as dark.
Yes. Because I did have a little taste of this earlier.
So here is like, look at the difference of these colors, right? So Daryl will know right away that if I do this, that in that glass, it's probably a Pinot Noir, correct? Oh
my God, that nose! Like Bachelor is a genius.
I am gearing up right now. Now I'm going to be done with with Blasted Church. Bigger, bolder, richer wine. We're going to start working on these wines. So here for you, Daryl, a first preview of Wismer Park Vineyard, the 2021 Wild West End from Thomas Batchelder. Okay. This is Beamsville, the 2020, the 20-mile bench sub-appellation from Beamsville.
Spilled a little Pinot
What
Noir
happened?
on the keyboard. Sorry about that.
What happened?
I spilled some Pinot Noir on the keyboard.
You're peanutting the keyboard.
I got a little excited.
Okay. I have to say, Mira's desk at the moment has been trashed badly.
He's putting all the glasses all around me. Like, try this. And there's like 15 glasses here. And so anytime I try to move like a paper, I end up spilling something. It's not good.
Oh.
Vicky can hear Daryl shrieking about the wasted Pinot Noir. I'm sorry. It is spectacular. This, I mean, we tasted them pop and pour about 5 hours ago, and they have all opened up tremendously.
I mean, it was 9 a.m, so
I thought it was early. It was later. Okay.
No. Just after I came back from the kids, drop off the kids at school. Like you know, it feels like it's yeah.
Popped and poured.
So, I'm telling you, I was working on Blasted Church Merlot at 5:45 this morning. Okay, it's been a long tasting day, very, very long. But wow. So this is Thomas Batchelder. This is Wismer Park Vineyard, the Wild West End. I mean, this is probably between 92 and 93, I would say. Maybe.
Really? This is one of my favorites so far from Batchelder. Like the nose. It's very rare that I get excited about the nose of a wine. Like it is, sometimes it's a nice nose, sometimes it's not. But
yeah, that might be more. I mean, I need to sit down and I need to benchmark it beside all of the others, right? So there's going to be a lot of work to be done with Thomas. So the Wismar, I would say, like, okay, let's put it safe here. After my first sip, between 92 and 94, I need to dig deep. I need to taste it tomorrow. When you do work with Thomas Batchelder's wine, you need to be serious. You need to be in your element. There's so much going on. There's some research to do about where exactly, and I know about the vineyard, but like there's much more to coming up. Yeah, that color, Mike, and it doesn't give it.
Yeah, on the camera you can't see, but you can see
look, when I swirl,
yeah,
I think you can see a little bit more of the brightness of that little brickle. Like, look at the difference here when I swirl here, right?
Yeah, you can
Now,
see.
this is finesse, but there's also a nice concentration. There's not too much dirt, wet, damp earth, not too much mushroom. There's some, but there's mostly ripe raspberry. There's also like tobacco is very present, a hint of cedar. There's some pomegranate in there, little bit of fresh herbs. So well balanced between savory and fruity. Yeah, this is and the structure is fantastic. So
that is like, it reminds me of a very intricate Hungarian pastry or something. Like it's just so like delicate, intricate, beautiful. I love this wine. Way to go, Thomas Batchelder.
Absolutely, Thomas. Great job. So now we have two.
So both Daryl and Mike are drinking Spearhead tonight.
Who?
More. Daryl and Mike.
Both. Wow,
like
it's a Pinot Noir. It's a Pinot night. Which one from Spearhead that you guys are drinking? Which single vineyard?
He's saying 2019 Pinot Noir.
From Spearhead. I know, but there's multiple vineyard. That can be Coyote Bowl. That can be the Coyote. That can be the one in Summerland. There's one in Penticton. There's different. There's the Cuvée as well. The Coyote for Daryl. And Mike, which one are you? I think the Coyote is the purple label, I believe.
My God, how do you remember these things? That's crazy.
Because that's what I do for a living.
I guess so.
Okay, now we have two Meritage also. Okay, because we're talking about the Pan-Canadian Masterclass.
Oh, yes.
Which will be held at Hester Creek on June 15th. One of the wine confirmed for that evening is vintage 2020 Hester Creek, the Judge.
Woo!
Okay. So this wine was open this morning. Woohoo! And last time I tried the Judge was from the 2018 vintage, I believe. I didn't try the. So Mike is tasting the Saddle Block, which is the home vineyard, the Saddle Block, because of the shape of how the home vineyard is shaping up at the winery. So that's the Southeast Kelowna vineyard. Okay, so I love that nose. Very, very soft on the nose. 35% Merlot, 34% Cap Franc, 28% Cap Sauv, 2% Petit Verdot, and a little splash of Malbec. So the 5 Bordeaux varietals.
Wow, it's a beautiful nose too.
Oh yeah, really, it's cherry wood. I got some Franc on the nose. The Franc come out on the nose.
Frankincense? What do you mean by Franc? Like Cab Franc?
Yeah, the Cab Franc. Okay. The cherry wood, right? So here is the cherry wood pops up. There's cassis. Oh, dark chocolate. Tobacco box, like the cigar box. Oh yeah, I love that.
Jeez. I feel like, I mean, it's just like overload today. Like we had the Pinot Noir Rosé, we had the Judge, we had the Bachelor, we had incredible wines from Blasted Church. Like, holy cow.
Holy shit, that's good. Holy shit, that's good.
So that is remarkable how much it's opened up since we popped
Oh
in.
yeah, since this morning.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. This is from the Golden Mile bench. Oh, really soft, hot and long vintage in the Okanagan on 2020. Yeah, well done. Well done. Just opening up. I mean, like it's a young wine, but this wine is an absolute beauty. Mark Hopley, Roger Gillespie, the whole team at Esther Creek, good job. This wine is absolutely delicious. Wow. Okay, and before we let you go, there's one more wine that we had open, and I said, because we have a Bordeaux blend open with the Judge, let's open a Niagara Bordeaux blend from the same vintage, just because.
Right.
So I have 180 Wine Estate Winery from the Niagara Vineyard. It's a blend of, I don't know. It's not on the back label, so it says Meritage. So I'm expecting at least 3 of the 5 grape Bordeaux varietals. That's probably Merlot, Cab Franc, and for the rest, I would have to dig a little deeper.
Is it the 2020? The 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
So the website, it says Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, Merlot, aged in French and American oak for 36 months.
Yeah.
So I do think, like, the Judge that we just talked about from Hester Creek, the Judge is our Enovino wine of the week. We'll have a little cute video about that tomorrow, because definitely you want to use an aerator for this if you have just opened it. But judging, see the Judge? Yeah. How incredibly it's transformed after being open with the lid on, but being open since this morning. I think it's a good candidate for decanting. Hey, at least a couple.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And
that young.
The biggest difference between the 180 wine and the Judge was both Meritage, both from the 2020 vintage. The 120, the 180, the 180 is bigger in a sense. It's more tannic. The tannin are grippier.
Yep.
I feel a little bit more barrels in there. I mean, this wine, the 180 is the one with the Enovino. Okay. Yeah. And this wine needs time still. It's a delicious wine.
Yeah.
It's very good. Very, very good. Different approach than the Judge. More barrel. But this gonna last for freaking 15 years.
Yeah, that is.
I will sit that wine. I will sit that wine for a few more years. But yeah, very, very, very well made wine. Very small quantity. There's a lot of dark fruit, sticky tannins for now. Great spice on the back end. This wine is this one lingers absolutely forever. So.
Yeah.
I'm getting a 92 points in that wine.
Beauty. On the 180. And this is a winery we're just discovering in Niagara, right?
Yeah.
So, interesting story with the 180. Previous to the current branding, they were the vineyards were owned by Fred DeProfio's parents, I do believe. And they changed ownership, and the new owners are just lovely. Like, we've had some amazing conversations with them. Mike's saying he likes
lots of tobacco on the back end. Lots of tobacco.
Yeah.
Coffee grind. Yeah. That it's
and
interesting. And last weekend, well, no, not last weekend. I mean Sunday night. Last weekend we opened another bottle of the Wine 80. It was the bourbon. The wine was aged in bourbon barrel with partial appassimento from the 2019 vintage, and I thought it was a very, very, very solid wine. I quite enjoy that partial appassimento bourbon. I've never been a big fan of wine aged in bourbon barrel. But this one was definitely the one that I enjoyed the most I enjoyed this better than the one I've tasted in the past from Foreign Affair, despite the love that I have for Foreign Affair. I love wines from Foreign Affair. I was just not a big fan of what I've tasted with the whiskey barrel. This one that I tasted last weekend from 180, it was delicious. Our guests really, really, really enjoyed it too. So, yeah.
Hey. Oh, I got to say something. Okay. You talk, Carl. I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool.
So because I talk, I'm telling you one thing. I'm pretty darn freaking hungry. Mira,
well, that's what I was going to show you. That's what I was going to show you is what I cooked. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Mira cooked something pretty freaking amazing this morning. So we're gonna get in the kitchen, and we have these big bold wines to taste with some. Well, I'm not gonna spill the beads.
Okay. Let me show what it looked like this morning. This was this morning, and it cooked for most of the day. Okay, look at this. So that's literally short ribs with a full bottle of Syrah, because we had a lot of Syrahs around the house, like this much left of each from the Rust feature and some other Syrahs we opened. So a full bottle of Syrah and those short ribs slow cooked for like 4 hours. It's a good snack after we tasted a bunch of wines, hey? When does Mira get Nova Scotia lobster again? It's
August the 4th. August 4th. That's the birthday treat every year, Daryl. Yes.
So there's many opportunities to visit the Okanagan, Daryl, you and Sandy. And so if you have to come in August, coming around my birthday would be good. I will get you a seat at the Nova Scotia lobster dinner on our patio here by the lake. It's pretty spectacular.
Okay, so there's any pictures of the next step with the ribs, or
the next step? Well, I mean, I think we should just go eat them.
Okay, well, that's a pretty darn good good deal, because I'm starving right now, and it's now 6:15 Pacific. It's now late in the Eastern time zone. So you guys stuck with us for another hour and 15 minutes. You guys are absolute troopers. Thank you. I mean, what another great show. So next week it's Blasted Church week. Stay tuned for I think it's $165 for the pack for 6 bottles. We also have 3 bonus pick, including a Mourvèdre Grenache Syrah, a GSM. So that's going to be, and one of my favorite of all my tasting is the Holy Moly, 100% Petit Verdot. I am convinced, and there's no doubt, this is the best BC Petit Verdot that I've tasted to date. No offense, like Mark Simpson at Mythology, Siren's Call made some great Petit Verdot, but this, the Holy Moly, is my top PV, BC PV that I've tasted to date. So yeah, so tune in, stay tuned. We're gonna get that into your inbox. Yeah.
Very exciting. So you know what they're saying, Carl? They're saying there might just be a little lobster dinner in Niagara.
No, okay. Oh, okay.
Or crayfish.
Okay.
Well, we'll see, but yeah.
That was crayfish is my favorite thing. When I went to New Orleans, I think every night I was chasing crayfish around the the Bourbon Street, and yeah, that was a great place beside our hotel. Anyway, okay, so that's it for tonight. What a great show.
Cheers.
Canadian wine lovers, Cars Wine Club members, to you, Mira Boucher, all of you, see you next time.
Cheers, guys.